Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Islam for Europeans. I'm your host, Robert. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Um, so I wanted to make this video because I think it's important to know exactly where I personally stand on this, where I also think that people who follow Islam for Europeans should also stand. And that is the reality that most people who have converted to Islam, who are from a European background, have already married, or have had children with as well to non-European Muslims or Muslims from other, ethnic backgrounds. Um, so first and foremost, I've been Muslim for 21 years. In those 21 years, I've developed several friendships with many Muslims, born Muslims and also converts. From most of the converts that I've known, that I've developed great relationships from, most of them have married born Muslims and have married into those families, and they've had kids with those families. And I think, part of the reluctance or knee-jerk reaction to many of these converts who see Islam for Europeans who don't really know what we're about. I can. It's they may think in the back of their mind that that this is some sort of fringe group, that we're all about just preserving racial identity. Um, and I never want them to feel uncomfortable or for them to feel unwelcome at Islam for Europeans, first and foremost. And the same goes for their progeny as well. So I guess the concern is that with a group like this, you're going to have people who are coming from the right wing, who are converting to Islam and then wanting to join a group like this, and they're going to bring in their opinions from their period of ignorance, and start using racial slurs or things of that nature against converts or their families. And we do not advocate for that. This is un-Islamic. It's haram to use words that are injurious to your Muslim brothers and sisters. Just as I don't agree with using the term coconut to describe, a person of color who, supports, Western interventionism in Muslim lands or oppressing, other Muslims. I would not want any, Muslim who supports Islam for Europeans, whether from a European background or not, to use terms like, half breeds or half Muslim to refer to like children who come from the parents of a mixed born convert relationship. And I really think that even though it seems counterintuitive, that they should actually support a group like Islam for Europeans. And I'm going to try to explain why. I know I have, friendships, from beforehand with children of these kinds of marriages. And, many times they feel that they're caught in the middle. And, the thing is, some of them, they identify, most of them, I would say, identify more with the side of their born Muslim family. If they're more religious, they don't really identify with their, the European side of their family. But you have others that do. And I think that for them, they feel really like they're caught in the middle, that they don't fit in with either society. And because you don't have an existing group of European descendant Muslims, like there's just basically no place for these people to go. And what happens is they end up engaging in haram behaviors and behaviors that are against Islam. And if an Islam for Europeans chapter existed in every city in the West, these kids would feel like they have some place to go, that they would feel like they would belong, right? So, I have heard some criticisms coming from, white converts who have these, concerns that they feel that they're not going to be accepted, that we're advocating for, converts, white converts or Euro converts to, for the most part, marry each other. Now that's true, and that's, I think The main reason for that is because, we don't have a wolf pack, that when we convert to Islam, we're an atomized individual, that we have to exist within the Anglosphere still, that we have to maintain the relationships with our non-Muslim family and community, that we're still working in these environments. And, we're just, an isolated, atomized individual with no, wolf pack, no Muslims that want to exist within, the Anglosphere, these kind of European social spheres. And, we need to start building these institutions from the ground up, our own organizations, around fora, around networks, around restaurants. And, the most powerful institution, among that is, marriage. And, if you have these families growing from the ground up, then now these converts aren't so isolated anymore. They're now two individuals. And, and then once they have a kid, they have three individuals. And perhaps they, form a bond with, other, white converts that have married each other, who are already married and already have kids. Then you have 10, 15 of those people. And that's how you grow a society from the ground up. And that fosters an environment where it's far easier for conversions not only to take place, but to be maintained. But at the same time, while we're trying to grow that community, we have to be cognizant of the fact that, most converts to Islam have married Muslims from other backgrounds, whether that's due out of necessity or preference. It's not our job to judge. And if we had a European descendant Muslim community from, from the get-go, would these converts have still married into the same family? Who knows? That's the thought that they would have, that they would have made back then. Allah knows best. But at the same time, we are an inclusive group in terms of, supporting this endeavor. I don't support, and I totally condemn, anyone who says they support Islam for Europeans, but at the same time uses any type of racial slur or, negative, slur that has a negative connotation against, converts from any background, or the families that they have married into. But yeah, I mean, like, that's part of the reality that this basically is. I mean, when you look at a country like Bosnia and Albania, they already have, a country that's majority Muslim that is also European. So it's a lot easier to foster, a convert from the ground up, because they already have Muslims within that social sphere. But when it comes to, Western countries, it's the reason why that hasn't been taking place is because there's so much opposition to Islam, right? And had, this animosity towards Islam not been taking place, or, existed to a far lesser extent, I think what would happen is that naturally you would see, these kind of pockets of, group conversion to Islam among, European societies. And then you would see this, this cultural synthesis. But to conclude, I think it's very important to keep that in mind, that I don't advocate for any type of animosity towards converts and life decisions that they make. I don't advocate and I condemn any animosity toward their families or their children, whether future or currently. I do feel that they need a group like Islam for Europeans, and these kind of centers all throughout the West, because they're still attached to their family like that. Their mother or father may still be a convert, and they may identify more with their convert side of the family. So yeah, that's my take on that. And please let me know what you think in the chat. But I do think it's important to point that out and make an official video about such matters moving forward. So that's my time for the day. I'm your host, Robert, Islam for Europeans. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And that's it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.